Hello everyone, my name is Chris Schneider. This is an informative speech on renewable sources in the energy industry. And I will pan my audience. Thank everyone for coming. Okay, that's the audience. And I will begin. As electricity consumption increases, the energy industry continues to work toward expanding renewable fuels in an effort to better meet customer demand, maintain low prices, and reduce emissions. This, however, comes at a higher cost when on large scale sustainability of reliable power is questionable. Renewable energy or green power is defined as any resource that relies on fuel sources that restore themselves over short periods of time and do not diminish. Large-scale electricity can be produced from the sun, wind, moving water, geothermal heat, and biomass. These energy sources provide low-cost and environmentally friendly power to the nation's electrical grid, but large-scale projects are very expensive to construct, specifically large high-voltage transmission lines that are in remote areas. Renewable fuels are defined as fuels produced from natural resources such as sunlight, wind, rain, tides, geothermal heat, and biomass, and they provide low-cost, environmentally friendly power. Renewable energy worldwide equals 19% of the total electricity generated for consumers. They're derived from natural processes and replenished constantly. Large-scale development of renewable energy efficiency and technological diversification of energy resources can result in better energy security and more economic benefits. And I'll discuss the 5 large renewable sources, large-scale processes, starting with solar. The pros and cons of solar are it's clean, quiet, has no moving parts, and that results in minimal maintenance. Cons are solar energy can only be harnessed when the sun's shining, it cannot be effectively stored, and it's less than 20% efficiency rating. Wind power is clean power, no waste product other than oil, which is minimal waste product from the generator. It has minimal land space used. The cons are wind's not constant, it's unreliable, and after the landscape, the natural view is not ever the same. Pros and cons of hydropower, which is the most widely used renewable power source worldwide. It's a clean product. Water passes through the turbines, can be reused downstream, and dams can actually regulate the flow according to demand. Cons is very expensive to build, and it destroys rivers' natural species and habitat. Geothermal energy has low emissions, only water vapors put into the atmosphere. It takes up the least amount of land space per kilowatt of any major power source. It's an unlimited supply, and really the only negative factor is the limited drilling techniques and the need for a shallow reserve less than 2 miles deep. Biomass power is carbon neutral. The harvesting actually keeps methane gas, which is a heat trapping gas, out of the atmosphere, and it turns existing waste into energy. Cons are burning certain waste products actually produce emissions into the atmosphere. Large amounts of fresh water are necessary to farm it and to process the waste. And it's expensive to refine with high transportation costs. And just to touch on a few negative factors of the large-scale projects, they're very expensive to construct. They do not deliver sustainable or reliable power, and that can create an imbalance of the electrical grid. They're actually criticized for being variable and intermittent, which is why relying on natural resources is not always predictable. sun's not always shining, wind's not always blowing, there's not always water in the rivers. And not in my backyard theory, people support the idea of renewable sources until they're actually faced with the realization of looking at a wind farm outside their back window. The harvesting of some renewable energies can also harm the planet if they're not extracted correctly. Geothermal has the potential to release pollutants when being drilled. In conclusion, the continued development of renewable fuels combined with the advancing technologies of today's traditional fuels are necessary to continue providing reliable electricity for future generations. Thank you. And then I'll show that my audience didn't run out of the room. Thank you, everybody. The end.